Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your Manchester United versus Everton preview and your latest Manchester United news. Doesn't it feel great to have football back? And do remember actually, no more international breaks till March and loads of games between now and New Year. And it's a big opportunity for Manchester United to get it kick-started with a win against Everton. And it should be a win because when we think about it, it was Amorim's first win as a Man United manager almost a year ago where he beat them 4-0. 2 goals from Xerxes, 2 goals from Rashford. How their fortunes have changed, how Man United's fortunes have changed. We don't beat teams that often by that many. We thought that might be the spark of Amorim ball, but he did say after the game, we will suffer this time last year, and he was right. A very rare comprehensive win for Man United under Amorim in that dreadful first season. But this is a new season. We're very good at home. And I want to just start off before we talk about that team because there are a few enforced changes. When you look at Manchester United's home form this season, we're actually 7th in the league with 4 wins, 1 loss. Obviously, that was Arsenal on the opening day. We've not drawn any and we are doing reasonably well. Everton, on the other hand, have only won 1 game away from home. They've lost 3, they've drawn 1, and they're 12th in the league for their away form. So realistically, it should be a standard win for Manchester United. I think at home this season we've been, pretty good. Obviously, we've won a lot of games, but we have been good. I mean, Sunderland, a good team, we beat them. Burnley, we made hard work of it, but we beat them. Chelsea as well, and obviously Brighton. So I don't see Everton causing us too many problems. Famous last words maybe, because it's Man United, and you never know what you're going to get with Man United. But I feel that second goals are important for us. We saw that against Forest and we saw it against Spurs. We had 1-0 leads at half-time and we let them back. But it's that killer second goal. And I think that we tend to get that at home. We tend to be able to score at home. The home crowd's been fantastic. The players respond well to that. So I'm expecting 3 points to kickstart a very important period for United. And I suppose you've got to acknowledge, before we talk about the team and we talk about Everton, that we'll get your comments in. What are your thoughts? But we've also got to acknowledge that we're always going to be, for a very long time, I think, the thin ice team. What I mean by that is, if you drew this game, it'd be 3 draws in a row, and I think people would get a bit fed up if we miraculously lost, and it would be a miracle for Everton to win this game, and I'll explain in a moment. Then obviously I think we'd be back under pressure again. So we're not out of the woods, and that's why these games like this and what we've got over the next few weeks are really, really important. But I think that because we're unbeaten and because we're close when it comes to the league, and I really want to just reiterate just what the league table looks like for Manchester United at the moment, and we'll come back to that team in a moment too. 7th place, but more importantly, it's where we are on this league table with regards to everybody else. We're only 2 points off third place with Chelsea. I think by the time we play on Monday night, we might not be in the top half of the table, by the way, because if results go the way they could do, we could be in the bottom half. But that's just playing last. We are where we are on Monday night when the game's over, and I expect us to be, hopefully higher with a win. So the league is an opportunity, and I think, although I think that the warning signs of the performances in the second half against Forest and Spurs. I think there'll be a bit of a buzz around the team coming back from an international break, and also being at home, I think, is a huge advantage. So let's have a look at the team. I don't know whether you agree with this or not, but it doesn't really matter because it's the team I've gone with. I think it sort of picks itself in many ways. Maguire's injured, Mainoo's not going to get started, Sesko's injured. So I think, Amorim is pretty much on the way to having a best 9. And I think Lemens is obviously one of those. De Ligt, Luke Shaw, I think Ahmad, Casemiro, Bruno, Cunha, Cunha and Mbeumo. It's only really probably left back, Yoro or Maguire, and possibly up front with the Sesko position where there's any places up for grabs. And funnily enough, I think they're the most contentious issues in the predicted lineup I think Amorim will go with. Look, we've got to attack Everton. We have been, and it's important to just revisit some of the stuff we spoke about in the first week of the international break. We are a direct side. We are a long ball team. We are a counter-attacking team, if you want to be harsh. You can dress it up in a more positive way, but we're very direct. and we have less than 50% possession. I mean, it's counter, isn't it? So, but at home, I think we've got to show more than that, and we have shown more than that. Moyes' Everton are not really going to be a team on the ball, so I think that we've got to attack, and therefore Ahmad on the right, Dorgo on the left makes the most sense. And I know he loves Dalot, but I mean, just put a guy on the left-hand side who can put a cross in with his left foot, or provide balance. And people will say, you don't need to put a cross in because there is no Sesko. I don't really give a toss if there's Sesko up front or Mason Mount up front. You still need balance down the left-hand side, and I think we suffer from that. So Dorgu for me on the left-hand side would be right. Obviously Yoro I would play over Maguire anyway, but Maguire is going to be injured for this game, so Yoro certainly needs to play. And then I think you've suddenly got your best back 5-6 at the moment. Obviously the goalkeeper is who we want. Ahmad on the right, Dorgo on the left, and at the moment with no Martinez, it has to be Luke Shaw and then De Ligt and Yoro. And I think that's a strong side, and I think that's a hard team to score against. I really, really do. And I think it's so strong, it allows the front three to blossom, and it allows the midfield to have a bit of freedom as well. Because, I mean, let's be honest, it doesn't matter what the Everton midfield is, it's probably going to be better than ours on paper. Although Casemiro's doing well at the moment, I do feel that Bruno and Casemiro at home do tend to have better games than away because they don't have to put as much work in. We're more on the front foot, and they can focus on being creative. So there's no point arguing about Bruno and Casemiro. That's our midfield. I think that's our midfield until the summer, unless we go and do something in January, and that's still up for grabs. But I think that's the midfield now, and whether I agree with it or not, or whether you agree with it or not, that's just the way it's going to be, and I think that's been established. And then the front three, I mean, look, there are options, but I suppose one of them, disappointingly, isn't even there, and I don't think he would have took it anyway. You could play Mainu next to... you could have put Mainu next to Casemiro and put Bruno into the 10 position. That would have been nice to see, but with Mainu being injured for basically 3 weeks, that's not going to happen. You could put Xerxes in and not play Mason Mount and keep Bruno in the midfield. I mean, ideally, I'd like to see Bruno as the 10, Cunha as the false 9, and Burmo next to Bruno, and then a midfield 2 of Casemiro and Mainu, but that's not going to happen. So I think that it's going to be Mount. And we'll probably see Xerxes in the last half an hour because Mason Mount can't play 90 minutes. So, yeah, I mean, you can't argue with that. There is no Sesko. He always goes with Mount. These are the sort of games where Mount tends to do quite well. I don't really have a problem with that team, and it should be enough to beat Everton. And I think when we look at Everton, and I was looking at their last game out against Fulham, wasn't it, and how they lined up. And look, I just don't dismiss the Premier League, but Everton on the road, I don't think that's their strength. I mean, they're a better team than they have been in recent years. They're certainly not flirting with relegation, but I don't think they're a massive improvement. I like Ndia. Jack Grealish could be an interesting profile of player for a game like this, but realistically, they're bereft of goals. I think that's the big thing I look at when I look at Everton. I think the goal drought will continue. I mean, on the road, they've scored 5 goals on the road, which is, I mean, it's not horrific. I mean, we've scored 8 on the road, but they've only scored 7 at home, comparable to we've scored 11. So they're just, I don't think they're a goal threat. And I think against United, we're averaging about 2 goals a game. So I think that takes teams like Everton out of a game like this. Next week against Palace, I think it'll be very different because of the way they play and the back 5. But I feel against Everton, the best they could get out of us is a 1-0 win or a 1-1. I don't think it's going to be I don't see us not scoring at Old Trafford at the moment, and I don't think Everton have got enough quality to score enough goals against us. And maybe if it was away, but this has got to be 3 points. It has, hasn't it? It's got to be 3 points for United. And how many times have we said that over the years? But it feels like it will be. I do feel like it should be. And dare we say it on the thumbnail, easy win. But let's put a question mark next to it. That's not arrogance. That's what a preview is. Whole point of a preview is to have a bloody opinion on it. And my opinion is, could be 3 or 4-0 again. Get the early-ish goal in the first 25 minutes. they're never going to score. Get the second goal, their heads drop, third goal, maybe fourth goal. So, and then people are talking about winning the league again because we might be in the top 5, which is, that's just the way it is. But it'd be nice to have a positive start, and especially with Palace is going to be difficult next week. But you'd think maybe, I think we've got West Ham at home and then Wolves away. You'd fancy both of those. I mean, there really are good fixtures for United, and as much as I wouldn't say I'm as frustrated as I was, but they were drop points against Man City and against Spurs and Forest. But the way to stay unbeaten, keep winning your home games, pick up points away from home, that will probably be enough to get 5th. I'm not going to sit here and say I like it, but it's still an improvement on last year. So yeah. I don't think there's a lot more to say, is there? I mean, I think it is what it is. Let's go and win this game of football. Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Get your comments in below. Do you like that team? And how far, actually, is that off a side that's good enough to get top 5? I mean, I think that's the question. And I've thought about a lot about this over the international break. This team, obviously, there's a couple of people still out, but this team is not a top 4 team. I still don't look at it and go, I can see the style of play, I can see the rhythm, this is a team going anywhere. But it's good enough to be a top 5 team because I think it's a team for this season. I think it's a stopgap team. There are players in that team that will get better. The Lemens, the Yoros, the Dorgus, the Amads, there are others. And there are players there that will, not be here in a year or two. Luke Shaw, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes. So, there's, look at the midfield. Like, the midfield is still a huge hole. If you took out Bruno and Casemiro and you dropped in Caicedo and Anderson, you'd suddenly go, shit, proper striker, and we could be challenging for serious prizes in the next couple of years. So it's good enough for now, but it still needs a bit of work for the future. That's how I look at United. And the key sentence is it's good enough for now, and we should be getting top 5. Anyway, get your comments in below. Let me know what you think about that. And I'll speak to you on the next one. Take care. And if you're watching this around 8 o'clock, I'm over on That's Football for the Bundesliga watch along at the moment. So join me over there for the start of the football this weekend. Take care.